Do we want to bitch about the plays we saw?
Stephen Adley Gurgis's Halfway Bitches Go Straight to Heavens is about the harrowing lives of a group of women living in a residence for women. Will these women escape their vicious past, unhealthy habits, and impoverished conditions and improve themselves? This huge cast was excellent, and John Ortiz did a splendid job of directing them on Narelle Sission's realistic set. Why was Sarge permitted to stay in this place? She was like the main character, because this is a safe place, but she is a nasty, violent person. I know we're supposed to feel sympathy for her as she is a veteran, but it is difficult when all that she spews is venom. The play was too long and unwieldy. There were some nice individual moments between the characters, but that was destroyed by arbitrary plot points and an unsympathetic heroine. Plus, I felt like I was being manipulated emotionally, which always annoys me. Listing a variety of detestable acts performed on all the individual characters doesn't garner sympathy from me. What I did find compelling was when they talked to each other on a human level and not a category of abominations. Then I was moved because these were genuine emotions. Mark probably would have felt differently. I know in the end we were intended to feel outraged, but I only felt for some of the individual characters like Venus, Rose, Mateo, and Wanda. The audience, however, felt differently than me and wildly applauded at the end, so I'm giving this a mixed face plus.
The new group is presenting Jhanjhar Our Loves play 1 and 2, directed by Stephen Walker Webb, and it's a play very much about numbers. The title is based on a statistic that 1 out of every 2 gay black Americans will become HIV positive. We have 3 performers who alternate on different nights, different roles, so they all have to know all of them. And it seems like they're chosen by the audience which role they'll play.
Well, it was, and when I saw it, Edward Marware was the main character. He plays Dante. He finds out he's HIV positive, he gets dumped by his boyfriend, goes to his supportive Southern mama, ignores the compassionate nurse, and hooks up for rough sex with a stranger. All this in an attempt to stop thinking about his predicament. They come up with a safe word for the actor if it gets too intense in the course of telling the plot, and for the audience to really think about the horrible statistic that 1 and 2 will get sick. This is a phenomenal exercise for the actors alone. They have to memorize the entire play and never know what part they will be doing. And to me, Edward Marware looked like the part was written for him. He was so convincing that I really believed all the emotions that he went through with this entire lifestyle change. At least it isn't a total death sentence anymore like it was back in the day. And as long as you take your medication and follow the regime, you can survive. But will he follow the protocol, or will his emotions get the better of him? And when I saw Jamel Dobson was remarkable as he went from Southern Mama to Callous Trick. I mean, and then the other guy, Leland Flower, played the compassionate nurse. And the script reminds us that AIDS is still very prevalent in today's society. We don't think about it as much as we should have. And I have mixed emotions because, you know, back in the day, all my friends died. I mean, I was going to a memorial every single day, and I'm like almost resentful, like, well, you get to live now, and my friends are all dead. And it's just, but, you know, this is just something that should be done about this. And not just on December 1st, AIDS Day. So, I mean, basically, I'm giving this a happy face.
Could I say something about it?
But now, I mean, the reason I wanted to go on so much is because he saw with completely different things, guy, completely different thing. So I just wanted to show you the good side of it. Now you're going to complain.
Yeah, I liked the actors. I saw, you know, different performers playing the parts, and the one that we both felt was the strongest performer, Jamel Dobson.
Who you saw play Dante.
I saw him play Dante.
And the person that played Dante was the one that played the Southern Mama and the... I'm just explaining.
Okay. But what I find, like, Eva made the play sound like it's very straightforward and very traditional, but it's not at all. It's extremely gimmicky with their commenting about whether they want to perform it or not, and they seem to be afraid that something will happen to them if they don't. And it's, to me, it's like a lot of empty avant-gardism with some kind of political point, and the characters in the play are all given generic names like trade or married man at center, and to me it was just.
Well, that's like a
I thought
restoration
really
comedy that, like, you know, they give them, like, you know, obvious names like Lady
right,
Gay
but that's
Steak or-
enjoyable, and it's not completely broken up by, you know, like talking to the audience and commenting about their playing these characters that are not really characters. I just didn't really like it much at all, except for one brilliant monologue that is like, the night I saw it, it was Edward Marwera, I'm not sure how he pronounces his name, talking about supposedly his experience that was not Dante's. And that was really moving, and I wish that had been the story. So for me, this was not at all as wonderful as Eva felt. I gave it mixed, but really felt kind of more negative about the play and liked the performers.
I think I know why I liked it more than you do. I'm still talking. We're still
sorry.
talking. No, that's okay. Because I've seen that play at Soho Rapp about, again, these group of women were saying, well, you have to tell a story. I don't want to tell a story. Or you have to tell a story. And then they tell the story and it made no sense. I mean, it made no sense. Like, you felt this made no sense.
No, I felt it made sense, but it was very generic and not especially
But you felt like
well told or
but you
interesting.
felt there was no plot to it. You didn't see like a story there. Well, I did.
No, I did see
you
a
said you
story
just saw-
eventually, but it
but
was
you
so
just-
broken up
Yeah, but see, you
that
got
it didn't engage me at all.
yeah. See,
Ever.
well, see, you got concentrated on the broken up parts. I concentrated on the story parts. So I got the story part. You got the broken up numbers part. That's what I'm saying is that's why
Okay.
you and I have a different experience in this. So it depends whether you are like me and get engaged in the story, or you're like Mark and get like annoyed by all the interruptions. That will tell how you appreciate this play, I think.
I
So-
guess that's true. It
All right,
makes sense.
there we go.
But still, I didn't appreciate it very much, so I'm giving it a mixed.
Leslie Dileo and I went to see Ken Jennings, not the Jeopardy guy, but the original Toby from Sweeney Todd, performing the Gospel of John. And me being Jewish, I had to bring a Catholic reviewer with me. So this is what Leslie had to say about the Gospel of John, which is much, I mean, I found it interesting as a story, but she knew it as a thing.
Yeah, well, again, the New Testament is 4 different tellings of the story of Jesus. And the one by John is supposed to be the one closest to a real eyewitness and the most close in time historically. And Ken Jennings' show, he tells it as if he were John, an eyewitness. He concentrates on elements about John the Baptist, about the wedding, the miracle of the wedding of Cana, where loaves become fishes and water becomes wine, and also about the meaning of Jesus's message of loving one another as oneself and accepting the Word of God as the food of life. And she felt it has a natural dramatic arc because of the story of Jesus, of his preaching and then his death and resurrection. And because she was raised Catholic, she had a very close connection to the story, which even I really wouldn't have so much. And that, again, it's very important because Christianity is the largest religion in the world, 2.2 billion followers of Christ. And she felt that she might not believe everything wholeheartedly from the gospel, but the message of love totally connects with her, and there's much more on Facebook.
Yeah, and there'll be more from me on Facebook. But I also want to say on Ken Jennings' performance, he did it so conversationally, and it was interesting how he and there wasn't just the Cana, but all the other miracles the well-known miracles that everybody knows about Jesus, and it was like, to me, it was like an interesting story because I don't know too much, and it went into the whole crucifixion and everything like that, and just I found it really fascinating, and how all these people betrayed him and everything. So I mean, we're both giving it a happy
Yeah, Leslie,
face.
definitely.
And more, like I said, I'll put my non-Catholic point on, but it's interesting for everybody, is my point. We saw 2 plays at the Irish Rep recently. The first one we saw was Pumpgirl, written by Abby Spall and directed by Nicola Murphy. It's set in a small, malicious Northern Ireland town, not far from the south. The pump girl, she's going out with this married man, Hammy. That's all done in monologue. So we get 3 monologues. The pump girl talking about, how she's having this affair with this married man. We get the story of the married man who's got these questionable friends and is into stock car driving. And then his wife, who's disgusted with him. She has 2 children, and she's like, ugh, I'm so sick of this marriage, and I'm just fed up with a lot of it. And the thing is, they're all sort of miserable. But what I found interesting was that they all didn't know how good they had it at the time until certain circumstances blew all their lives apart. And ostensibly, the author said this play was her exploration of toxic masculinity. But it was interesting that this toxic masculinity not only spilled on the females, it actually spilled on Hammy himself. So it's men being toxic
to
other men. Exactly. It was, equal pay toxic masculinity.
But again, it's like, yeah, the guys are the biggest creeps, but it's sort of also about women on their own just being miserable and not finding a way to make their lives more satisfying.
Without men.
Yeah, I mean, or with men, but not being
men.
as bothered by it.
Yeah.
Because they both seem to want to be with men in some way.
Yeah.
I felt like, as a story about malicious small town life and how horrible and limiting and destructive it is, it paled in comparison to Judgment Day, which was a much more exciting and tauter play. The monologues just got to be monotonous after a while, and I wasn't as fully engaged, although I did think these are wonderful performers. Irish Rep has never found a bad performer.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wasn't thinking about Judgment Day. I was thinking about my own small town life. So, I mean, I know what it's like to be in a small town. And normally I do not like monologues talking to me or narrating the story without action. But in this case, they painted such a vivid picture of everything that I actually, what they were saying actually disturbed me so mightily. The only thing I found confusing was at one point, I thought one of the characters was in the same place at the same time, and and you had to explain it to me, but I don't want to go into more detail because
they do, they tell the story, but they don't necessarily tell it in order, like person 1 telling part A, person 2 telling part B. There's an overlap and going back, and you do have to pay a lot of attention to follow the story, but it's a well-constructed story.
Yes, and the title and we were discussing how...
Oh, the image it's a very great graphic image for the play. We don't want to explain why, but if you see it, you'll understand on so many levels.
So happy face minus.
And I think I gave it mixed faces plus, so we felt almost the same. Irish Rep is also presenting Dion Boucicault's London Assurance, directed by Charlotte Moore. And it's an 1841 farce in which the self-proclaimed paragon of London fashion, old Sir Harcourt Courtly, is soon to marry a very, very, very young country Venus named Grace Harkaway. This was sort of set in motion by her father a long time ago, before her father died, and it's really about merging their 2 estates. And
since she's not ever been in love before, she's not bothered that she's marrying this old guy. Her maid's more bothered by it, but she is. But she's like, I've never been in love. I don't care. It's like,
she doesn't really believe in love. She thinks it's something just for fools, and she feels marriage is, a mercantile procedure altogether. This is until she meets Sir Harcourt's son, who's a very handsome young kind of man about town, and who's visiting with another kind of friend, yes, who is a con artist.
Yeah, he pretends
to be related to every family in England.
And then also coming in as Lady Gay Spanker. I love that name.
Wonderful.
With her husband. And
she's kind of like Diana the Huntress with a riding crop.
And there's a lawyer named Mr. Metal, of course, who's just constantly trying.
Sleazy.
He's constantly trying to find a way to make money by creating scandals and stuff. It was just so funny and delightful and full of hidden identities.
Well, because the son is
convincing his father that he's somebody else entirely different, even though he's obviously the son.
Yeah, but the only one who notices that is Grace, because she's the only one with some bit of intelligence.
I know, it's nice. The female's the intelligent kid, and the rest are all idiots.
But the
and Lady Gay Spanker's smart too.
Yeah, but the father is sort of like, it works even though it's completely far-fetched, because the father completely doesn't understand his son at all. It's like he doesn't really know him in any way. He thinks he's just a good, studious, go to bed early.
Because the servant tells him that.
Well, and that's what he wants to believe.
Yeah. And we should say the scenic design by James Newton, the costume design by Sarah Jean Tossetti were just...
It's eye-popping. It's gorgeous. And Charlotte Moore is a great, great, great director. She
sure
gets the most out of her performers. She places them in the most meaningful places and, does magic on a tiny stage. So this gets a happy face.
Both, too. We agree.
We agree.
Yay! Happy New Year! Cirque Mechanics Show 42 Feet, a menagerie of mechanical marvels at the New Victory, was sheer delight, and it accomplished the impossible. It made me enjoy circuses again. These were the most appealing circus performers I have seen in a long time. They had me smiling in between gasps and wows the entire time. The clown was more like an illusionist. The way he made a suitcase material and posters had minds of their own. His movements were quite Chaplin-esque. The strong man did feats I've never witnessed before, with juggling bowling balls. I need 2 hands to roll the damn thing. And he balanced this enormous pole with 2 women on swings and swung it around. I mean, it's like a 50-foot pole. I never saw the like. And there were acrobats doing stunts on a spinning ladder or being launched high into the sky on a giant swing. A lady juggling while riding on a mechanical horse while running around. Whip cracking in a visible line. A lady draping herself over a gentleman on a trapeze. A slack wire. They were dexterous, balletic, and altogether magical, accompanied by beautiful music that sounded at times from France, Russia, and New Orleans. This gets a major happy face. This is Jan Ewing's review of the Gilbert and Sullivan Players. They've done it again with their 2016 production of the Mikado. And it's set in a highly imaginative Japan at some undetermined time. The famous piece is the story of Nankipu, Prince trying to find himself, Yum Yum the girl he loves, and Coco the man who is determined to have her. You can see it's a silly story. Specifically reacting to concerns in the city's Asian communities regarding the portrayal of the play's invented Japanese characters, the directors Albert Bergeret and David Oscar Loyola have fashioned a clever Victorian Mikado, a playful romp depicting how the opera might have been staged at a time when the British knowledge of actual Japanese customs was almost non-existent. Set up by a short prologue written by Mr. Auxier Loyola, the performance explodes into energy with colorful sets, pseudo-Japanese costumes, and stunning lighting effects. After that, the exquisite musical understanding, the downright hysterical acting of some of the funniest characters ever written, and you have a New Year event fit for the entire family. He gives it a happy face, and it's one of my favorite scores. Yay! BroadwayCon is coming back January 25th to 27th at the Hilton. There'll be panels on behind the scenes and playwrights and concerts and games and photo sessions with your favorite people. Meantime, to whet your appetite, just from Friday night, the first night alone, here are panels with Mingo, Cher, Prom, Be More Chill, Disney Theater 25. Then there's these wonderful concerts, and more of it, you can see the whole thing on my YouTube, Eva Heinemann, for the complete thing.
For sure it's been being with these guys every day when we were in Washington and when we were in New York. Just, I really miss being with them every single day and writing for them and with them.
My favorite thing is creating. That's the best part. I think that if I had to think about what this whole show was the four of us sitting on the floor in the dirty hallway at the National Theater going, how are we going to solve this? How are we going to do that? What are we going to do with this moment? I mean, those are, because that is the fun of it, even though it's absolute agony, that's what feels very rewarding on the other side of things.
And Cher set the tone for that, right? So she's been around for 6 decades, and that's what people have come to expect. If you're going to see the Cher Show, you're not looking for a flavor or a genre that's going to be somber or a boutique musical, or you know what I mean? You need the sparkles, you need the flash. So we're trying to check off all those boxes that people who have fallen in love with Cher through the decades can sit there and we hit the expectations, hopefully, and then we add the meat on the bones, which is the humanity and the sort of beautiful underbelly of her life, well beyond what she also presents.
It was really cool because when I auditioned for the show, it actually, what was presented to me wasn't really anything. At that point, it was titled the Untitled Prom Project, and we got like a brief character breakdown, and that was it. That was all I knew about the show, auditioning for it, and that's all I knew about the show until I got to the rehearsal room for the first 29-hour reading, and then reading through the script, it was like, oh my god, this is incredible, and this is a story that hasn't been told before, but one that needs to be told. And it was really cool that they had given a voice to this teenage lesbian and let her speak her mind, and it was really magical.
It's such a highlight of my life creatively. I've been such an admirer of Joe's, Joe Iconis for such a long time. It was the first collaboration with Joe Trace and Stephen Brackett. We did The Lightning Thief together. And so it was like this dream summer, and we all had huge hopes for the show because we loved it so much. There's just so much heart in what these two guys have written and in what this guy has assembled, and so we all really were hopeful for something, and it kind of didn't happen, but we got a chance to record this album that all of you found on the internet.
Another show that, because I'm obsessed with Beauty and the Beast, and it's probably top 3 just movie of all time for me. And in college, my buddies and I used to skip class and watch it on VHS. By far my favorite life. What was that now?
So those of us that remember what a video is. Yes.
Clamshell video.
Clamshell video.
And actually, when the Broadway musical was announced and it was happening in previews, my pal Patrick Wilson and I drove up in my dad's LAByrinth to see you in previews. And we loved it so much. And all I wanted to be was the Beast. I still want to be the Beast.
Dileo's review of Love Actually, the unauthorized musical parody. Book and lyrics by Bob and Tobley McSmith. Music and orchestration by Basil Winterbottom and directed by Tim Drucker. 2003 Christmas classic Love Actually is a starry-eyed take on the true love that we dream about, rely on, and sometimes take for granted. It relates the romantic entanglements of a group of people in London at Christmas time. There are only 6 cast members playing multiple parts, and the ever-changing costumes and wigs are well designed to help transform the characters. The songs are performed with true musical theater sincerity and whimsy, and this cast have exceptional singing voices, and the direction is very deft. The show is highly entertaining. The 90 minutes flew by. Whether you love or could leave the film, Love Action, the unauthorized musical parody, will make you laugh. Run, don't walk. She's giving this a happy face plus.
You can find the complete panels and concerts on the YouTube Eva Heinemann. Go there. And I hope you had a wonderful new year. Lots of theater to look forward to and lots of theater going. And Near to the Wild Heart is Itico's company, and it's Claire Lisper, and it should be fabulous. Is This the Room is back. You do not want to miss BroadwayCon. The Barn series, it's free. LAByrinth Theater. Yiddish Rapp has something coming up. And Japan Society and Under the Radar and lots of stuff at the Tank. Salon Sanctuary is always wonderful. An Origins First Irish Theater Festival, always great plays. Movies Are Dumb, fun stuff with the Hulk. The Sign in Sydney's Window, it's free. You get a 3-course meal. It's fabulous. Necromancers of the Public Domain. It's Greg Cotis' birthday, so that's a very special one. Diana Arnold's On the Table, what it's like being a waitress. Texas Tennis, The Green Room. Lots going on at 54 Below, including Mel Brooks and Beth Level. Beckley's play is going to be at Panagia, plus some other stuff. BAM is back in business with Medea with Bobby Carnival. 59 is 59th Street. How to Load a Musket, you'll have to go to the Facebook page to read my review when I go see that. And Richard Maxwell is going to be at the Kitchen. And this Rattlestick Theater Players and Alumni Jam 2020 should be wonderful with all the old playwrights. Under the Radar at the Public. And don't forget to pick up your Performing Arts Insider, the Cultural Heartbeat of New York City. Our next show is January 18th. And oh, I forgot. Those are the shows that are closed that you can see on the Facebook page. And don't forget to go to Twitter, YouTube, Eva Heinemann, and have a great year and all that. Like us on Facebook.